Everyone, I'm Jennifer Reed. I am the Director of Senior College. If you could go ahead and mute yourself right now, that would be really helpful, just so we don't have any background noise, especially because we record this session so that it can be posted in our on our YouTube page. So folks could be writing in the chat their name and where they're from, and you can also share maybe something you've been enjoying since we last saw each other. So a show you're binging, or travel that you've done, or something, some long last relative that you might have seen. So it's great. I know people are still logging in, so we'll just kind of fill for a moment. I'm reading what folks have been. Oh, of course, Ron has been ordering seeds, flowers, plants for the spring. I love that, Ron. That's awesome. That's very exciting. Spring will be coming, but we've been lucky. It hasn't been too bad of a winter, although today where I am, it's very cold and sleety here on Cape Cod. So the format for today will be pretty straightforward, like we've done before. I'll give a brief overview of senior college, and then I will ask our instructors that are here today to give us a little bit of information about what we can hope to learn in their class, and also introduce themselves. And so we have a lot of instructors that are planning on being here today. So we will, ask them to keep it like under 5 minutes, because I think we had about 10 or so instructors RSVP. So we're pretty packed today, and we'll try to keep it to 1 hour. So one thing I wanted to let you know, hold on, I'm just looking for my notes here. Oh, I can't find them. Hold on, I have them on the desktop. Just so I keep to my notes. Okay. And then at the end, we will do a Q&A as well. So, but if you have an instructor question while the instructor is speaking, go ahead and put it in the chat. That way, if it's like a quick answer, I can ask them, before we move on to the next instructor. So feel free to write in the chat, and any general questions you have, we can leave to the end. Okay, so senior college, what is it? Well, it is a place where we come together for learning's sake, without the pressure of tests or grades, or having to write papers or any of those things. So if your instructors are assigning you a 20-page term paper, you just tell me right away, and I will be sure to let them know that that's not approved. So we really engage in learning for the sake of our own self-development, to be connected with others, and to just have a great time with one another. So the classes are short term. Most of our classes are 6 weeks long. Occasionally, some of them are longer. We have a 12-week political discussion group that's very popular, and then a few courses are a little shorter. So you'll just have to pay attention to the quick glance schedule, which Darlene will pop in the chat, to see the dates of our courses. Some courses are in person and some are online. So this semester we have we have actually 16 courses in person across several different locations. We have 2 locations in the town of Bridgewater, the public library and the senior center, and they are both wonderful partners with us, and we're grateful to them. And then of course, we also are back in Plymouth at the Center for Active Living, and they're great partners. We have 1 course at BSU Attleboro. And then we have a new partnership with the town of Easton Council on Aging, and they have a location, a community center called Frothingham or Frothington Hall. And so we're really excited to partner with them. So if you live within driving distance to Easton, you might want to check out that. It's a new site, and we're excited to have them on board. And then we have 31 courses offered virtually. So just like we're here today, so if you've made it here into the Zoom, then you already know how to attend a Zoom class. So basically it's point and click, come into the Zoom, and your instructor will take it from there for you. It's helpful if you know how to type in the chat. So if you're just logging in with us today, we're practicing that by putting our name and maybe something that you've been enjoying doing over the last month or so, a show you're binging or a book you're reading. We always bring new courses to you. But then there's certain instructors that we bring back every semester, and they're brought back to us by popular demand. So we have those folks back with us. You'll see on the schedule, there's a group of instructors who have devoted, loyal followings. And if I didn't bring them back, I know you would storm the quad and sit in President Clark's office. So I don't even think about it. I just bring them back because they're so talented, especially with bringing new content or even recycling some content that's really popular and then just offering it with a different twist on it. So thank you so much to all of our instructors who are back with us this semester. So membership is $85. It is the lowest or the most affordable lifelong learning program in all of New England that I have seen. If there's one that's more affordable, then someone will have to point that out to me. You can take as many courses as you like for the single fee of $85. So you can take 2 courses or 25 courses. So you don't have to pay extra. There's no hidden fees. We do have a couple of exciting paint nights coming up, and there is a fee, a $30 fee for those, but that's just a fun extra thing. You don't have to do that. So yeah, it's really, really affordable. We also offer scholarships. So if the price point is prohibitive to you or to a friend or a family member, then all the people have to do is just shoot me an email and let me know, and you can be granted a scholarship. We also have lifelong scholarships for anyone that's 90 and over. So if you have a friend or a family member or a parent in that category, please send them my way, or give me their phone number or whatever it might be. I'd be happy to reach out to them and let them know about that. We've had one person take advantage, and I'd love to see more. We also, we do accept, so most people register on our website and pay with a credit card on the website, but you're welcome to pay by check too. I know some people are nervous about paying online, and we understand that completely. So you can always shoot me an email and let us know if you'd like to pay by a check. We can tell you where to mail the check or even drop it off if you're close to Bridgewater. Darlene, why don't you put our email address in the chat so that people know how to get in touch with us? So benefits of membership, we have, as a member of senior college for $85, you have access to all the amenities that our full-time students have. So and actually some of them are even better than what our full-time students have. You can get a parking pass, which if you live in Bridgewater, this is like worth its weight in gold, which is a free parking pass. So you can come to our campus at any time and have access to parking. You can use our state-of-the-art fitness facility. You can use our library services to do research. You can get technical assistance through our help desk. So if you're local to the Bridgewater area and you see yourself visiting the campus, then you can just let me know that you want to take advantage of those campus amenities, and I would be happy to walk you through the process of how you get that. You can get a student ID card, etc. We also have something called a video on demand library. So some of our courses are recorded. I would say maybe about half of them. And so this is helpful if you're busy and you miss one class, and you can go back later and watch it. The links are usually posted within about a day of the class session. Or you could take and watch an entire class that maybe you're too busy or you don't have, you can't fit it into your schedule. You'll be able to watch that class all the way until September 1st. So that's a great way to even just peek at instructors who maybe you've never met before. You don't have to watch every session, the whole session. No one will ever know, what parts you watch, but maybe you want to just, see the initial lecture that they give. And that's a great way to, check out other courses and other faculty. So the other thing is you register, obviously I mentioned that on our website. And then finally, the only thing I would ask, there's so many wonderful familiar faces here today. I see there's 34 of us here in the group, is just, the one thing we ask is for you to spread the word, tell your friends and family, tell your college roommate who lives in New Jersey, or your cousin who you haven't seen who retired to Arizona, because we are nationwide. I saw, we have, I think, people from 5 different states right now registered, and we'd love to see that grow. It's quite a value, even if you don't ever attend an in-person class. It's still an incredible value to join just for the Zoom classes. So spread the word. And sometimes it takes time. Like I had this woman who called me last semester and she was like, I forget who maybe it was Connie Contusion. She was like, she's been calling me for 2 years about this senior college and I'm just like finally joining. So just really stay on the friends that you know who would enjoy this experience, because sometimes it takes a few times for us to remind people to, consider senior college as an activity. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to, if the faculty that are here today, welcome, thank you for being here. And again, the prompt is to share a little bit about yourself and also tell us what we can expect to learn in your class. And it's always helpful if you tell us the format of your class, like if it's discussion-based or lecture-based or whatever the format is, that would be super helpful. And so I will give you a heads up when it's your turn. We're going to start today with Jim Kirkaldy, and then we're going to go to Ron Akjar. So Jim, you have the floor. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Everyone can hear me okay? Jen, you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, my background is I was the director of social studies in Hingham Public Schools for about 40 years. That's where I taught there. In the last 25 as director, and I've been an adjunct professor at Bristol Community College. And many years ago, I also taught a course at Bridgewater. I went to Bridgewater and I live in Bridgewater, so that's home. Basically, I started doing a series of talks, discussions on Renaissance art up to the Impressionists. And it was one of the things I found the most effective in dealing with my own students. And it went very well using it at Bristol Community, here at Bridgewater. So that was up to the Impressionist period. And then I did a second one at Bridgewater from Impressionism up to the 1930s, modern art. And now I'm continuing that. And that will be in Bridgewater, but will be in March. So I've had a lot of loyal followers. I hope a lot of them return. But I want to emphasize, if you weren't in the earlier courses, that doesn't mean you won't fit in and feel very comfortable in starting off with what I call American art up to and including modern art. After 1945, America finally kind of replaced Europe as being sort of the dominant school of modern art. So that'll bring us right up to date. However, the first one I'm doing is in February, and I decided to start the whole series over again, 3 courses on art from the Renaissance to up to today. And this one's going to be in Plymouth. So that starts February 2nd. So it will be there. It's PowerPoints, and also I encourage a lot of discussion. I also give all the students copies of my PowerPoints so they can look at them at home and share them. And that seems to have worked very well. So once again, I'm starting again a new one, Renaissance to Impressionism, in February. That's the first one. And for those of you who have been with me, loyal followers, it'll be in March where I'll continue the like I said, American art, including from the Gilded Age up to modern art. And finally, you can tell I enjoy doing this. In April, I'm doing a short 5-period one on Putin and his place in American history. So I'm jumping from art to Russian history, but that should be hopefully very appropriate as well. So anyways, I encourage you to sign up for the American art, even if you haven't been in the other 2 courses I had, but we have a good time. And I think like I said, I encourage discussion, and I look forward to seeing a lot of familiar faces. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Jim. The general consensus from our members about you is that first, they would take anything that you offered. Like you could offer a class on like choosing a dish liquid and people would take it. And the second is that you are incredibly thoughtful in how you prepare for your courses and how much content is delivered really carefully. So we appreciate you so much. I can't believe that we have you in 3 separate locations. That to me is like the biggest coup of my senior college career thus far. And we're really excited to have you back. And I've been spreading the word in the new locations to folks like, you don't know how lucky you are right now to have a class with you. So
by the way, the Putin one is in Easton, by the way. I didn't mention it before. And the Renaissance starts in Plymouth. And then once again, American art, that will be back in Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. I know you have to go off, so if anyone has any questions for Jim, just put them in the chat and I'll ask him offline and we can get those responses to you. Thank you so much.
I can stand for a little while. Thank you again.
Excellent. So up next we have Ron Akjar, and then after Ron, we'll have Jin Tan.
Good morning, everybody. Hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm not at my usual computer. I'm upstairs in the lab. Silly me, I brought my computer home for the weekend, worked on my computer at home, and it's now sitting on my table at home. So I'm upstairs in my lab today instead. So it's working out pretty good. Yeah, so my name is Ron Akjar. I've been a staff assistant or staff associate here at Bridgewater for 11 years now. My background is in plant biology, not necessarily horticulture per se, but that's kind of my lilt. That's where I kind of lean towards, utilizing natives in the landscape, that kind of stuff. So I'll be offering 2 courses, same 2 I offered last spring. I thought there was a pretty good number of students that enjoyed the classes. So I figured I'd try it again, maybe get a bunch of new students wanting to try it out. They weren't able to before. Because of my daytime contract here at BSU, I'm not allowed to offer anything during the daytime, so which is why my my offerings are in the evening and via Zoom. My courses, I always have a PowerPoint available to the students. I tend to make them available through Gmail or through a Google Doc type thingy because they're a little picture heavy. So trying to send them through email doesn't usually work too well, whether it's because the BSU servers say, nope, too big, or especially with Comcast, they have a big issue with large files. So they don't tend to go through. So I can either send them as a PDF, so that'll make them a little smaller, or I'll send them through a Google Doc or Gmail type system. All my presentations are recorded. Students really love having that option. I had quite a few students this past fall when I taught my 2 fall courses that signed up for the class, but probably in the actual Zoom session, I probably had 10 students most of the time was the average number. But I had several students indicate to me afterwards that they really appreciated the recordings because they're able to actually go through and see the class on their own time, go back, review, that kind of stuff. So it worked out really, really well. Having the courses recorded. So my first course is more on kind of getting ready for the spring, ordering seeds, composting, extending the gardening season, that kind of stuff. And then the second course is more about different kinds of gardening. So gardening for birds, gardening for butterflies, rain gardens, that kind of stuff. So that'll be more of the lilt of the second presentation. I am always open for questions during the presentation. So if anybody wants to stop me or whatever and say, hey, I had a question about this, always willing to talk plants, even if it doesn't pertain to the presentation at hand. Feel free, bring your questions. You know, you say, I have this plant. I always want to know what this plant is. Can you tell me what it is? This plant's not doing too well. It seems to be kind of fading. What's up with this plant? If people ask about house plants, that kind of stuff. So anything that's plant oriented, I'm more than happy to take the questions and see if I can help you out as best I can.
Ron, thank you so much. According to our members, you have basically an encyclopedic knowledge of gardening, and people really enjoy your class. I know you have devoted followers. So even if you don't have a garden, maybe you're just thinking about doing something small, you know, something in your community or with a family member, or with your grandchild. It's just really a great class to be able to be in the presence of someone who's so passionate about something that's so important to so many people and so knowledgeable. I know that our folks really enjoy your courses, Ron. We're thrilled to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next is Dr. Tan. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, everyone. So just listen to the past 2 instructors. I feel like I want to enroll all those classes. They are so fantastic. Okay, so my name is Jin Tan. I'm a professor at School of Social Work at the Bridgewater State University. So I joined Bridgewater since 2009. My background is in social work, but my primary focus is actually aging. So I do research and focus on elderly policy and elderly care issues. Since I'm joined Bridgewater, due to the demanding of my department, I actually don't got much chance to teaching the topic of aging. I've been primarily teaching the courses that students really hate, like research, statistics. So past couple of years, I started offering this elective to our social work students called issues in global aging. That's what I'm going to offer for the senior college. So this is a class really talking about issues in aging, but in a global perspective. So seems like how different countries dealing the same issue differently. It's a fun class, I would say. This is my first time offer for senior college. So I'm thinking about maybe half lecturing with PowerPoint slides, half discussion. I'm not going to teach this class like I'm teaching to my MSW students with a lot of readings and also has a lot of technical terms, but I'm going to picking all those popular topics and divide them into 6 sessions. And then we can all get a little bit understanding how different country, different culture dealing with the same issue differently. And then we will discuss and we will talk about it. For example, in the earlier, we will talk about the impact of the one-child policy in China, and it's changing, how it impact the elderly care issue, and also the background. I'm original from China, so that's one of the topic. And I also the generation of the first generation of the only child used in China, but now they get rid of it. It's no longer one-child policy. So that's one of the topic to talk about how a government use population control that in original was thinking to make populations smaller, but how ended up become a big issue for elderly care. And then there are different topics like retirement age differences, how different countries talk about using like even the term how old is elderly in different countries is all different. There some other issues like living arrangement, family structure, culture, and long-term care issues, retirement, health, disability, and successful aging. So all kinds of very interesting topics. Some country has a very unique policies. Some country has a unique cultures that may be not written in policies, but it impacts the whole society dealing with the aging issue. So I hope this class will be fun and informative. And as much as I'm teaching, I'm also hoping learning from everyone. I believe every participant would be a great contributor to the knowledge of this field and help me to even better understand this topic.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tan. I love that you mentioned that, you know, like with your full-time role as a faculty member, you have to teach like the bread and butter courses, and you don't get to teach as much the thing that's truly what your scholarly interests are on. So I love that as a selling point for me to get more faculty like you to come and teach with us, you know, and that they can sort of, you know, dust off the thing that they're really most passionate about. So that's, I love hearing that. That's wonderful. And also as I age, I don't know about all of you, I get more and more interested in aging because things come up and you think, well, this is unfair, or this is strange, or why don't they print the, you know, the print bigger on the Tylenol bottle, like all these things that come up around aging. As you age yourself, I am more and more interested in, and I see lots of heads nodding. So I hope folks will check out your course, and I know that they'll learn a lot from you. So thank you so much. This was a huge coup for me to get you to come play around with us in senior college. I'm thrilled to have you. Okay, so up next, we'll have Representative Matthew Moratori, and then after Matthew, we'll have Scott Hokanson. Representative, thank you for being back with us.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me go before Scott, because he's trying to follow. So it's great to be back, Jennifer. Thank you again for the invite back. I'm Matt Moratori. I am a state representative for the 1st Plymouth District, which includes 3/4 of the town of Plymouth. This is my second go around with this. The first time I taught was my passion, which is elder care. I actually am a licensed nursing home administrator, and have been doing that since 1977. My first job was a dishwasher in a nursing home, and I kind of grew up in that industry and just love it so much, and kind of fell into this job as a state representative back in 2014, I was elected. Prior to that, I was on the select board in Plymouth for 5 years. And prior to that 5 years, I was on the finance committee in Plymouth. So, and really was just trying to give back to the community and ended up in this role. So we thought this time around, we would talk about trending issues on Beacon Hill and give some folks a little insight of what's happening, and in a lot of cases, what's happening now, what will be current. Things move fast, as you all know. We have a new governor, a new lieutenant governor. I was fortunate to work with Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for 8 years during my whole time, and now this is a new administration. So we're going to see how things go. There's a lot of issues that we'll be talking about in this new session. We just were sworn in for the 193rd session last week, but we're going to talk about a lot of things related to probably healthcare, behavioral health, elder issues. I'm on the committee of tourism because Plymouth is big for tourism and our area is big for tourism. So we may touch upon that as well. But behavioral health, mental health is a big challenge. And that's something that we've tackled with a major bill that was filed back in July and passed and signed by the governor. And there's going to be more to that. So we're going to be talking about all those issues and more. And it's going to be a general discussion. We're going to sit around the table and, just kind of chat about these things. And I want to hear your input. I really like to hear what people's thoughts on different issues, and in particularly in the climate that we're living in. I'm trying to change some of that climate that we're living in, and I want to hear different points of view. And people shouldn't be afraid to express different points of views. And so I want to be able to hear that and express that. Have you expressed that? And it helps me make better legislation by doing that. So by you coming to my class, it really helps me as well grow as a legislator. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it. It starts March 16th, and it's going to be at the Center for Active Living in Plymouth. And it's going to be every Thursday through the 27th of April. We are taking off April 20th, but we'll end up on April 27th.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Representative. We're really excited to have you back offering this course in this on this topic here. They say all politics are local, and so much that happens at the state level is so important to our own everyday lives. And so I love it that it will sort of be a focus group for you too, and how you represent people. So to anyone that's within driving distance to Plymouth, I think it will be really fun, dynamic course, and we're thrilled to have you back in senior college.
And we might get a little inside, behind the scenes discussions going on as well. Sometimes we're in session on Thursdays at 1 o'clock, so I may have to zoom in and you may be able to see what's going on in session and hear what's going on. So you may get a little background of what's happening sometimes.
I love that, behind the curtain look.
Yeah.
Love that. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have another instructor who's offering a course over there in Plymouth, Scott Hokinson. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, and Matt, I'm always happy to defer to you, in your shadow here. But once again, my name is Scott Hokinson. I'm a 27-year veteran of selling health insurance to businesses in Massachusetts, and I'm taking my expertise to this class to show people on how health insurance works in America. It's a super interesting topic. Unlike some of the previous professors, this is not a political discussion. This is a factual discussion about how health insurance works. And we try and leave politics out of it because people do get very opinionated on it. But there's one title, there's one word in our title of our session, it's fun. I try and make discussing this very interesting topic as fun as we can. And we bring it down to a personal level for the people that are in the class. We do talk about the history of health insurance. Why do employers offer health insurance in the United States where that's not the model for most of the rest of the world? Does it work? Does it not work? And then because of the population that we're serving, we do spend over half of the 6 sessions on Medicare and how to shop for Medicare yourself, what the differences are between products that are available. Primarily, we do talk about what's available here in Massachusetts, but those differences, are the same in many other states as well. You will walk out of this class knowing what a deductible, what a co-insurance, what a copay is, what a prescription plan is, what a Medicare Advantage plan is versus supplement, all of those fact-based things. But we do have a lot of fun talking about maybe how broken our system is. And we can shake our fist at the sky about it, but I will, when you're done with these 6 sessions, you'll know how to navigate it and you'll be the smartest person next year at open enrollment at your pickleball tournament. So I really do enjoy the class. The fall was my first time doing this, so I'm a newer professor. I respect all the other 40-year veterans and whatever else. So I'm learning how to do this, but I do know health insurance well, and we have a good time talking about it. And we do reserve the last session for everybody in the class asking specific questions about they and their family. And we all learn from that as well. So looking forward to another session. I really appreciate being invited back, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. So when Beth and Michelle over at the Center for Active Living recommended Scott for a course on, healthcare, I was like, okay, I don't think anyone's going to want to take that. It seems kind of boring to me when we have, all these other courses. And boy, was I wrong. And I never do this, but the reviews on Scott's class made me want to cry. I'm going to read one to you. Who thought a course on Medicare choices could be entertaining as well as educational? This is both. I learned so much about Medicare and alternatives as well as costs. Scott made a confusing and somewhat complicated topic understanding for everyone. I would highly recommend it. And that's just one. Every course was like, how is this fun? It was so fun. He's not kidding. So I think, sometimes it's like the person with a topic that you think maybe, oh, I'll learn about that next year, or I'll address it next year. So tell your friends and family, folks that might be on the precipice of having to make these decisions, especially because it's a Zoom course. Last time he taught it in person, and so many of you asked if he could offer it via Zoom. So Scott, we're so thankful that you're back. This is an important topic that we all will need to know about at some point in our lives. So I think it's really important for us to educate ourselves now when we have someone that we can do it with in a fun way. So thank you so much. Okay. So up next, we'll have Catherine Evans, and after Catherine, we'll have Susan Levasseur. So Kathy, welcome. Let's see. Kathy.
I'm muted. Okay, now I'm unmuted. Thank you so much for having me, Jen. I really appreciate it. So I'm actually teaching a couple of courses. I've taught both courses before for the senior college, but never at the same time. So I'm excited to teach two courses at the same time. The first one I'll be teaching is called Writing Your Life. And by the way, I'm an English professor at Bridgewater, and also I direct the Writing Center at Bridgewater State. So I'm all about writing, an English professor, normally obviously teach college students writing. I love teaching this course. It's called Writing Your Life. I love it because it's my favorite genre. It's creative nonfiction. And so the idea of this course is that you can write about your life, and really that can be a legacy. It can be something that you can share with your friends to connect with them. If you have children or grandchildren, you can share it with them. And the reason I got started teaching this course is actually because my dad, who, by the way, was a certified public accountant, so no background in writing. He has an MBA. He likes to read, so he started writing stories about his life that he shared with me as his daughter. And that was really the impetus for offering this course, is because as a daughter, I know how much it meant to me to have these stories of my father's life. It was profound. And then, of course, we shared it with my children, his grandchildren. It was so profound to have these stories of his life. And they included pictures of the church where he was, baptized. And it was amazing. Anyway, so I offer the course now as well. And it will be meeting Thursday. It will be May 11th to June 15th, Thursdays from 4 to 5:30. Jen, would I be able to screen share? I have a Google Doc for both of my courses. Would
Sure.
I be able to?
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So everyone in both of my courses, and I'll talk about the second one in a minute, but I have Google Docs for both of the courses. And let's see if I can get the correct course up here. Yeah, so there we go. This one is Writing Creative Nonfiction. And as you can see, I just love the picture I found. Your beautifully messy, complicated story matters. Tell it. And if you look on the side of your screen, you'll see that there's a table of contents, which gives, I'm trying to get the, there we go. If you look on the far left of the screen, you'll see a table of contents that tells you all the things that will be covered. So under organization, focus, and development, I know that sounds boring, but you just click and it will show you all the subtopics. So consider organizing your piece around scenes rather than summary. We talk about what that is. I'm skipping craft a title that reinforces your focus. There's a section on dialogue, how to use dialogue, and there's some links to a Google Doc on dialogue, and more importantly, a video on dialogue, which is from a Scottish writer. It's great. So let me just talk a little bit more about the format of the course, and I'm going to go back to the very top of the great picture that I love. Oh, trying to get it back here. So going back to the format of the course, it is a little bit different. The first day of the course is really an overview. It's kind of talking about what are the elements of how to make your story come alive, whether you're sharing it with friends, children, grandchildren. So that'll be kind of an overview of characterization and how does that work, and what is the scene, and how is that different than summary. That'll be the overview, but it's really all covered in this document here. I know it sounds like, well, how are you going to basically teach everything we need to know in one class session? Well, I'm not. It's all in the document, but we'll give an overview. The rest of the course will be a workshop where people will share their own work and we'll get feedback on it so it's really a discussion course where you share part of your work, you get feedback from me and from the other class members. It's so amazing to learn about other people's lives and to talk with them about how they can craft their story of their life. If they want to revise it and craft it for children and grandchildren or friends. Anyway, it's just, I love teaching the course. I learned so much. The second course I'm teaching, and let me segue into, is a very different type of a thing. But again, this is coming from my parents, right? That's our parents are really our whole lives. So this one is called, Is There an Other Side? And this was thought of, I thought of this course after my mom passed away. And so I'll just put the little laser pointer by the title of the course. This course is also offered May 11th through June 15th, which is it's offered on Thursdays. Both courses are on Thursdays. This is from 2 o'clock to 3:20 on Thursdays. So after my mom passed away, I got a lot of signs from her. And, before she died, I never really thought, I guess I was always an agnostic, never an atheist, but always a little bit agnostic. But I became very spiritual because I got all of these signs from her, and I knew that she was still with us. And so, we talk about signs and such. Signs, how can you recognize a sign from the other side? How do you look for it? How do you ask for one? How do you recognize it? And again, if you look in the sidebar, it gives kind of an overview of everything we'll be talking about. So the first topic is near-death experiences. And of course, that's our first window into the other side, people who've died and then come back. And again, it's the same kind of thing with the other course where you learn so much from the other people in the course. One of the students who took the course from me last time had a near-death experience herself, and she told us about it. It was incredible. So we learned a lot about that. Bruce Grayson is one of my favorite authors. He's a retired professor from the University of Virginia, from their School of Medicine, and he has devoted his life to studying near-death experiences. It's fascinating to hear what he has to say. So we talk about near-death experiences. Next, as you will not be surprised to hear, we talk about signs from deceased loved ones, also called ABC, after-death communication. And that's just so fun because it gives us a connection to those of us who had people we love pass away and who crossed, and we can still feel like we have a connection to them. Relationships with loved ones do not end when they cross to the other side. And what are the signs? How can we make it more likely for us to notice the signs? It's so awesome. Signs and synchronicities, I always talk about, for me, I feel like I get signs from the universe as well as from my mom. And that's just, again, it makes it really meaningful. It makes your life more meaningful. deathbed visions is a very, very important phenomenon. If you ever think that anyone you love is going to die, which obviously is going to happen, understanding deathbed visions is so, so important if you're going to potentially be at the bedside of someone you love. So important. There's some research, we see YouTube videos on it, people talking about their experiences. From a doctor talking about his experience with patients. It's fantastic. There are a couple other things too. We talked about mediumship. And then just the other thing we talk about is grief therapy. There is something called induced after death communication. So anyway, it is mostly a discussion-based course that I will be showing some YouTube videos of various people who've experienced this and sharing our own experiences as well. And I know I spoke longer. Hopefully that's okay since I had 2 courses to talk about. But thank you all, and I hope to see some of you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. We're thrilled to have you back by popular demand. And you've been with us sort of on and off for a long time now. And I remember a couple of years ago, you offered the writing course, and the people that were in it continued to meet via Zoom for like a year after. So I know that you build quite a sense of community within your courses, which is part of why people participate in senior college, maybe even more so than the actual content of our courses. So thank you so much for all that you do for senior college. We know that you're a very busy Bridgewater State University professional, so we're really glad to have you back coming up in May. So thank you so much. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Susan, and then after Susan, we'll have Ron Maribet and John Winters. But Susan, welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Susan Lavasser. I teach part-time at BSU. I've taught in the English department and the Communication Studies department, mostly literature and writing, but right now I'm teaching gender studies in the Communication Studies department. And really, that's the reason why when I heard about being able to teach for senior college, I wanted to teach poetry because I miss teaching it. I haven't taught it for a few years now. So I thought, ooh, that's a great chance. So I am offering a class called Discovering Poetry Together. It meets on Mondays on Zoom at 1 o'clock, and it's starting later this month, and it runs for 6 weeks. I don't remember the exact dates, I'm sorry, but later this month. And it's a discussion-based course. Every week, a week in advance of when we're going to discuss poetry, I send out copies of 3 to 4 poems and a lot of resources about things to think about in terms of those poems, whether it be the author's biography, videos of famous actors reading the poems so you can hear them read really well, materials about specific poetic devices in the poetry. And then when we meet in class, we basically read through the poems together and discuss what we think about the poems. And it's really a very basic format. You find it in any English literature class you come across, but I've really found it, the students are wonderful. They read everything before class, and we have great discussions. I've found it very inspiring class to teach, which is why I'm back. I taught it for the first time in the fall, and now I'm coming back in the spring, and hopefully I heard that many of my students may be coming back. I hope that's true. If you're out there, please come back. Always welcome to new people, and we'll just read some poetry together and see what we think. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll look for questions from Jennifer or in the chat. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. We're so thrilled to have you back. You're another example, as all of our faculty, but in particular, you know, this was the first time we offered a poetry class, and we had 2 poetry classes last semester. And one of our members remarked, they said, the instructor was super organized and her format was enjoyable. Susan selected poems appropriately for the season or holiday, such as Halloween, autumn, Veterans Day, etc. She provided articles for us to read about the various poets if we wanted to learn more about their writings, and also had a review of poem construction, meter, tone, etc. I have to say, this was my favorite senior college class. This is an example of when I send out the comments from our participants, like I truly hope that our instructors can like absorb the difference that they're making in people's lives in these little communities. So we have the senior college community, and then we have these little classroom spaces that turn out to be so incredibly meaningful. So I'm just so thrilled to have you back in a topic that, you know, I think is of interest to a lot of people in the age demographic that we serve in senior college. And I hope that it's something that they can pass along to their loved ones, maybe their children or grandchildren, because I know it's a really important and fun way to experience literature. So thank you so much.
Been a great experience. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, now I forgot who I said was up next. Oh, Ron Maribet, and then after Ron, John Winters. Welcome, Ron.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome.
So I'll just this is my first. Thank you very much, Jen. I appreciate the opportunity. This is my first foray into this program, and my base has evolved. I'm an earthworks teacher, educator, farmer, organic gardener. A lot of fingers in the soil, but also with a teaching background that has included a 15-year period as an adjunct visiting lecturer at Bridgewater State University, and I've taught workshops, programs all around in a number of countries, even beyond the United States. So I'm focused deeply on ecology, hence the name of the course, which is Deep Ecology and You. And what it is an attempt to engage the participants in an open, non-judgmental discussion of their relationship to the ecology beyond their epidermal, beyond their skin, out into that. And again, it's discussion based. The curriculum will evolve with the subject interest of the participants. I want to go where they are right now and work from there. And we want to go where we are right now, I should say, and work from there. And over the period of the 6 weeks, cover some important topics and from a science-based perspective. And so we'll be engaging their life experiences as they have occurred so far with these subject areas. The methodology will be to introduce a subject area by a very short introduction based on a reading or something like that. The book that I'm inspired, you asked what book are we reading? Can you see that?
It says Active Hope. Yep.
This is Active Hope, How to Face the Mess We're In with Unexpected Resilience and Creative Power, is written by Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone, published in 2012 and reissued with updates in 2022. But it's not required reading. It's just, I may take some examples from there to bring people to the current, from Thoreau to what the current thinking is now about our current situation. The underlying premise is that we want to address the issue of climate change and climate issues on a personal and a collective level, how the personal rolls up to the collective. It'll be focused on really what they're doing or would like to be doing. And really that's this being my first one. I don't really want to be too much more prescriptive. And I want to introduce the notion to people who might sign up for this, that this is really their opportunity to have a wide open discussion about some things that are lurking here and there in their mind or in their experience or in their conversations with other people that they might want to get a better handle on.
Excellent, Ron. We're so thrilled to have you. This sounds like a very interesting course. It starts on Thursday, April 20th at 10:30 in the morning. It'll be offered via Zoom. We're really thrilled to have you in senior college. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay, so up next we have John Winters. Welcome back, John. Good to see you.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Thanks for having me back. So my name is John Winters. I taught at Bridgewater part-time for many years. One of the classes that I've enjoyed most, actually, we should talk about that one second, because the first one is, the first one is, I'm very interested in music. I play music. I've written about music for years. That's how I started my career in journalism. And so I thought that if we looked at songwriting, you don't really have a lot of opportunities to examine songwriting. And I thought we could do kind of, hate to use the overused phrase, deep dive, but into 12 records. So it's called American Songwriting in 12 Records. And we're going to look at, I'll be selecting the songs at first anyways, and then we'll select, some of the students will be able to select some of their favorites so we can discuss. We'll be looking at what makes a song special, what makes it great. We'll be discussing 12 songs from the era beginning about 1958 through modern times. We'll look at lyrics and how they work. You don't need to know music theory, but I will be pointing out elements of the song's composition, major, minor shifts and things like that, and the way the chord structure can influence a song. Certainly a song written by Sting will be very different from a song written by B.B. King, right? So we'll look at some of the intricacies of that, but not too deep. If you don't know music, don't worry about that. And also we'll be looking at the history of each song and any necessary cultural context. And like I said, we'll be incorporating some song selections from members of the class to discuss. You'll get to hear the song before each class. I'll send out the list, and then you can, have your own thoughts and jot those down if you could, because I would like it to be a little bit of a lecture, but also a discussion to see what your thoughts are on each song, the students. That begins March 6th. It is on Mondays at 11 a.m. via Zoom. It's called American Songwriting in 12 Records. The second class is one of the favorite ones I've ever taught, or part of a favorite one I've ever taught. I've taught African-American literature a few times. And I thought over 6 weeks, we would pull out two of the key books that I've taught over the years. And they are Richard Wright's Black Boy and Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Now, you may very well have read these books, especially the Maya Angelou, which is a huge bestseller. But I'd encourage you to take another look and go through it again, because a second reading or a third reading will benefit you for both of these books. But we're going to use these books as a lens to view the history of African Americans in this country. Both of these authors, Richard Wright and Maya Angelou, were born after the end of the Civil War, but they grew up during the era of Jim Crow, the Harlem Renaissance, civil rights struggles. And while we know about these things from history, these memoirs really personify them. For it's one thing to read about a lynching, but when you read about Maya Angelou, teenage Maya Angelou, worried about her brother not coming home, being several hours late, and almost convinced herself that he had been captured and possibly killed by members of the local KKK, it's much more impactful. And also with Richard Wright's Black Boy, we only read the first half of that, which we can talk about during the class. But his memoir prompts a question about what's the meaning of memoir and memory, and truth versus fiction. And so we'll be discussing that. Like I said, you'll be reading the books, sections of the books during the week, and then come into class here on the Zoom channel, and we will do a lot of discussing. I hope that's something that will be driven by the students with their discussion, and me just kind of leading it. That class starts on April 17th, and it's Mondays at noontime, and looking forward to a great semester. Thanks for having me.
John, thank you so much. You're, back by popular demand. You haven't been with us in a while. I'm thrilled that, you got back on the schedule.
Thanks.
I know people are in the chat are mentioning that they've taken courses with you in the past. Also, John is just prolific in so many ways. He's a prolific author. He's written a well-known biography on the actor Sam Shepard, who is one of my favorite actors,
That's right.
like from my childhood, because he was in this movie called Crimes of the Heart, which was one of the movies my
That's
mother
right.
had seen. Like, I'm not lying, she'd probably seen that movie 75 times.
Wow.
It's a quirky, if you haven't seen it, look it up. Crimes of the Heart. It's with Sissy Spacek, Diane Keaton. And also he was in Baby Boom and Steel Magnolias, and just, I know the movies I'm mentioning were probably ones that he's not as well known for, I'm sure, but John is very humble, multi-talented, really smart guy. If you take any course with him, you will be better for it. So
Thank you.
so
You're too
much.
kind.
Thank you. Welcome back. Okay, so up next we have Sandra Temple. Thank you so much, Sandra. Welcome back.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Sandra Mondakowski Temple. I am a history nerd, and I have been an instructor for a number of years in the past at Wheelock College, Boston University, and the Prison Education Program. I have also taught for years in the Massachusetts prison system and the county jail system. And the reason I call myself a history nerd is I'm passionate about getting across the fact that, as Winston Churchill and many others have said, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So January 6th, we have looked at the fact that many commentators have said this is probably the most terrible assault on the Constitution since the Civil War. Well, not so fast. 100 years ago, there was another assault on the Constitution and another upheaval in this country, and it has not very much been talked about. So Adam Hochschild has just written and come out with an incredible book called American Midnight, and that is the book that I've chosen to focus our discussion on this period in American history from 1917 to the early 1920s, where we also faced war in Europe, a major pandemic, threatening white nationalism, a rise in anti-Semitism, anti-immigration sentiment, and extremism. So it's history repeating itself. However, we prevailed then, and the hope is that we can prevail now. So I've taken the book, it has 24 chapters, and I have divided them up over the 6 weeks of the class. We'll be able to focus on one at a time. The format will be about a half an hour of introductory lecture and slides, and then the rest of the class will be focused and guided discussion. I always send out a PDF after the class is over of the slides. I send it out PDF because that's a format that's easiest for everybody to open. And I've also sent out other resources, as I will continue to do. I'm always happy to research questions that people have. One of the exciting things about teaching in the senior college, about any kind of teaching, is that I wind up learning as much, I hope, as my students will learn, because the questions they ask me are sometimes things I never thought about, and so I've got to look them up myself, and then I bring them back to the class. So I really enjoy that. The class will start on Mondays at 9:30, starting April 24th, and I look forward to seeing people for a discussion. It may sound a little depressing, but remember what I said, that we prevailed before and we shall prevail again. Thank you.
Sandra, thank you so much. We're thrilled to have you back. for people that are new to senior college, Sandra joined senior college, and that's how we got to know each other. And who knew that we had such a prolific instructor who's been so important to our success as a program, offering classes. She's offered 5 courses with us, so she's one of our top instructors. She's you know, Sandra, you're another one that I really hope you truly can absorb the difference that you make in our members' lives. One member commented, Sandra put so much effort into preparing for the class and providing after class references. She is an excellent speaker. She is personable and keeps our attention throughout the presentation. She finds wonderful pictures and videos to accompany the presentation. She encourages our questions, and if she doesn't know the answer, she will find it out before the next class. Even if the topic is not something you think interests you, you will find the class both enjoyable and worthwhile. You have a devoted following in our membership, and we're so thrilled to have you back this semester. Thank you so much. Okay, last but certainly not least is another very popular and longtime instructor, Andrea Plate. I think I pronounced that right. No, how do I mess up your name? Say it for me, Andrea.
It's Andrea Platt.
Platt.
Which it doesn't look like, and I know that. I get all kinds of things. It's fine.
Welcome back. We're so happy to have you back, and you have the floor.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be back. Thank you so much for making that happen. I think origami and a senior program is a perfect match. I am teaching in several different senior sites. It is really a healthy thing to do for yourself, to explore something brand new that you perhaps have never thought you could do. It's good for your self-confidence. It is good for your brain. And I hope you won't just automatically say, oh, I can't do that. I'm not a math person, so therefore origami is for math people. No, anyone can do origami to it, at least to a certain level. I was my development in this field is as a child, I did a little bit of origami. I became a middle school math teacher and department head, and used origami to teach geometric vocabulary and to prove understanding of that vocabulary. I've retired, and since I've retired, I have my origami time and exposure has exploded. I was fortunate to receive a gift of 10 hours of individual tutelage with an internationally known origamist at Origami Do, Michael LaFosse. And I was in a sort of test group for a tessellation class of 3 online. So we have North Atlanta, Pennsylvania, California, and Massachusetts in this little class. One of the things the pandemic has done to origami is there are no borders. There is so much online teaching. I have attended conferences in Italy, in Israel, in Brazil, and of course in the United States. My passion is to get people to understand that origami is more than a child's toy. This is a single piece of paper, okay, that has been, folded and is now art. This is another single piece of paper, and hopefully you can see these, and is now art. So you have to start somewhere, and my class is a great place to start. I called it Useful and Beautiful Origami. We will be making, to some extent, I can't show you, well, I can show you a couple of likely models, but but I'm going to match what we're doing with the skill of the people who attend. You will learn to read a diagram. You will learn how to move the paper. This is a little vase we are likely to fold. It has an opening at the top and this sort of interesting little knob at the bottom. This is a box from a single sheet of paper that is self-closing. Okay, this is another box with a decorative top. This is a box I just taught at a North Atlanta online group. Okay, this is a likely little dish that we're going to fold. Okay, there's this is something else I've been working on, which is folding flowers. Not in this class, but again, I just want you to see where you can go with origami. Another possible model that will fold is this little dish with feet, which is just so cool. So, but I'm going to match what we're folding to the skills of the people in the group. If they're all beginners, because I'm making a change. I've been online with Bridgewater up till now, but I live in Plymouth, and with the program creating its program here at the Center for Active Living, I want to give that a try this semester and see if we can be in person, because again, in person, you open up all kinds of other opportunities, creating community, creating that people helping people in the group. Although we've been very successful, I think we've been quite successful at developing some origamists online, this adds another layer again. So if you're one of those, let's see, my class will start the first week of February on February 2nd. Thursdays, and it runs from 12 to 1:20 at the Center for Active Living. And I hope that gives you a little overview and maybe a little excitement about, putting yourself out there and coming to Plymouth.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andrew. We're thrilled to be able to offer a hands-on class in person. I think this is actually our first ever art hands-on class that we've ever been able to offer this semester. So we're really thrilled. I know that people that take your courses are, really enjoy learning from you, and that you are incredibly prepared and talented. So we're thrilled to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are over time. I know I tried to get it done in an hour, but thankfully we had so many instructors who were able to attend today. If you have a specific question now for an instructor that is still here in the Zoom, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask that question. And if you just have a general questions, you can unmute yourself and ask that question as well. And thank you so much to the instructors. To those of you that are still here, you're welcome to hop off. Thank you so much. This goes above and beyond your pay grade for being a member of member of our faculty. So thank you for being here and sharing the information. And I'm going to stop the recording, but I'll stay online for a few minutes. So if anyone has any questions, so good to see you. Thank you so much. I'll be here for a few minutes.